everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. Wild Wednesday continues. At the beginning of the night, we had the Motor City Mad Mouth and Marvin on the Mike Show. Tonight, we have the Sports Exchange. Great crew lined up tonight. We have Candy Ebling. We have Tom Shanahan. Glad to have you on, Tommy.
Thank you.
And we have Talking Game Tony and Marvin Powell III back for round two. Glad to have you back, Marvin. So
happy to be here.
Without further delay, let's get this bad boy started here. We're going to talk about Bruce Pearl. Why? Because he retired earlier this year, and his son Steven is taking over as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. Bruce Pearl obviously joined CBS Sports, and along with Robbie Hummel, as well as college football analysts with the regular season games, and he's going to contribute to studio coverage as well for CBS Sports and TNT Sports. They have joint coverage of March Madness alongside of Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, and Jamal Mashburn. So, Candy, what are your thoughts about obviously Bruce Pearl and what he's done, and he's given his son Steven Pearl the reins over at Auburn?
How cool is it to do something that you love for as long as you did, to mold your son and to give him that same love for the game, and then the place where you are employed allow you to mold him and him to take over the reins for you? Like, that's just so cool. Such a great story. I really like Bruce Pearl. It dates back to the days that he was in Milwaukee. So, but yes, I think that's really cool.
Tommy, this wasn't too bad.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl has always been very excitable and enthusiastic and interesting. I haven't seen him do games. Has he been doing games yet?
No, I think just in studio.
Just in studio, yeah. I haven't caught him yet, but I'm sure he's going to do a good job. He'll have plenty of good insight. If Charles Barkley likes him, then he must be good.
That's Charlie. All right, Tony.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, Tom, he's gonna like him. He led Auburn to the Final Four, I think. So he's gonna be great in Charles Barkley's book. But yeah, it's cool that, look, man, me as a parent, you always want to be able to lay down a good path for your kids to be successful. And it's also amazing when your kids grow up looking up to you and they can follow your footsteps in something. So that is cool. He does probably need to give him some coaching tips a little bit to help him out. They started ranked 17th. Now they're unranked, but that's just the growing pains. He'll figure it out. I think he'll be fine, but it's pretty dope to be able to do
that. Marvin?
Yeah, I would think this is somewhat strategic. I think this is probably something he's had in his mind or had in his heart. Listen, it's normal. Your daddy's a plumber, you're going to be a plumber. Your daddy's a salesman, you're going to be a salesman. That's how it really goes. You know what I'm saying? That's really how it goes. There's no doubt about it that, this kid grew up in a sports-heavy household, basketball-heavy household. He's been inspired by his dad and, wants to, follow in his footsteps. His dad had a great career in college. I like Bruce Pearl. I like Bruce Pearl. I got love for Auburn. My uncle Chuck played for Auburn, so that's probably my number 2 team. It's a far number 2 for my Trojans. But, Bruce Pearl is a player's coach. His players love him, and I love his energy. I think he has the energy for TV. I think he'll be very entertaining and, knowledgeable, and I think he'll teach people the game, from the booth, from the studio, no doubt. And I look forward to it.
Katie and I actually met Bruce Pearl one time over at the Talladega Motor Speedway. Too bad I never got a picture with him because obviously we were so engrossed with the race activities. But Bruce Pearl is certainly a nice guy, and he did a whale of a job at Auburn. And speaking of Bruce Pearl, he takes it a step further by calling for player contracts in pro sports because he says everything is completely out of control. Candy, where are you with that? I think he's on target with that one.
I'm sorry. What was that? Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Bruce Pearl actually calls for player contracts enforced because everything is so totally out of control.
I think in this new NIL era and with the transfer portal, if you really want to develop your team and have success, He wants to know who he's got. You want to give him a contract. You know, these kids are more than 18 years old at this point. They can have a contract if they went to other avenues, they could have contracts. So I get it. You want to see stability. You want to know what you've got, and you also want a contract. Normally means a commitment from both sides, and that's another thing you want. It protects the players, but it also protects the school or the coaches. So I could see it. I can see it happening.
Tommy?
Yeah, I think the holdup on contracts is then they'd be employees of the university, and college sports doesn't want to go down that road. The pendulum has swung completely the other way. For all these years, people said the athletes should have been getting compensated, and the schools were taking advantage of them. And now we're in the theater of the absurd with someone like Darian Mensah making $4 million. Who set the scale that a guy from Tulane is worth $4 million a year, 2-year, $8 million contract? And we had to watch all these heartwarming stories about how he lifted his mom out of poverty. And he was so grateful to Duke to provide him this opportunity. And what happens? Duke loses to Tulane, his old school. His old school, Tulane, makes the college football playoffs. Duke does not. And then he jumps ship on Duke at the very last second, leaves them without a quarterback. So whatever's going to happen, it's going to take extreme absurdities like that to finally get some action. Today at the Raleigh Sports Club, Elliot Avant, the baseball coach, has been there 30 years, and he was talking about how the NIL has changed everything, and he's taken teams to the College World Series, including with Trey Turner and Carlos Rodon. They're both in major league players. Trey Turner, he was talking about how nowadays players, not so much his baseball program because it's a little bit different, but these players in football and basketball are there for 1 year. There's no loyalty. And he was citing the example of Trey Turner, was so enjoyed his experience at North Carolina State, and he's made so much money in playing Major League Baseball that he donated $1 million to the baseball program, and they've built this state-of-the-art training facility. And Carlos Rondon has donated money. But if guys are only going to be in a school for 1 year, are they going to come back and donate money? Are they going to care at all about the school? Are the fans going to care? Duke fans going to care at all about Darian Mensah, even though he led him to the conference title? 10 years from now, are they going to care about him at all? It's a mess, and it's going to take more absurd stories like the one in Alabama. This guy, another pro basketball player, getting a chance to play. He's not even enrolled in school, and he's eligible to play. These guys aren't college. These guys are pro athletes playing college sports.
Yeah, crazy world we live in, huh, Tommy? Once upon a time, it ain't what it used to be. All right, Tony.
I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but the answer has to be found. Okay, like this is the classic overcorrection of it was wrong, or it wasn't fair. It's fair to the players, but now the players are taking advantage of it and running wild. Players are avoiding any kind of obstacles or any kind of adversity, switching schools. We kind of talked about it. I feel like Monday, Scott, how or maybe last week, how Calipari said that you have no loyalty to none of these schools. You go to 3 or 4 schools. How does that scholarship even work? Are you even still getting an education through this school? Like what ties do you have to these universities, by doing that? And they don't want to make them employees, but what they are at this point. Carson Beck, literally, it was funny. But when the young lady asked, when the young lady asked, "How was school? How was your classes after winning the Fiesta Bowl?" And he kind of laughed and said, "I graduated 2 years ago." You know, like some of this stuff is like, okay, guys, what are we doing? You know, and you have G League players that are now about to get back into college. You have all this mess. Somebody has to button it up. You know, maybe a commissioner. I think that's the thing we got to stop doing. We got to stop looking at it like they're students and amateurs. They're professionals at this point. You start making money, you're a professional. I think that's the first step of it.
Okay. Marvin?
Yeah, well, listen, the real crime, all right, if we want to really, sit here and pick, the real crime is the fact that these kids were making life-changing money for all the administrators, all the coaches, okay? They were the ones responsible for all these new buildings going up. This has been happening for decades, okay? And they receive nothing. And you say, well, they get a scholarship, they get an education. Okay, but the reality is this: the benefit package for the player needs to change when the schools are making $300 million a year, $200 million a year just off football. And the kid gets a $100,000 scholarship. These major schools are going to make like $10.5 million per kid if the kid stays for 4 years, okay? And the kid gets a $100,000 scholarship. No, that's horrible. And that's why Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh laughed at the NCAA in court. They tried to say, listen, he told them, you guys have built a multi-billion-dollar business, all right? You've painted it school. You say, no, this is a school. It's not really a business. Give me a break. What are you talking about? These are your laborers. Period. You don't have these kids, you don't get the TV contracts. You don't get the sponsorships. You don't get the new buildings. The AD and the head coach, they don't get their $10 million a year salary, whatever it may be. I'm all for these kids getting paid. It's absolutely,
Right.
You want to get mad about money, get mad at the bankers. Get mad at people who work in finance. Get mad at these politicians with these lifetime salaries that they get, all right? These kids are elite. They've worked toward that, and they've helped to build these colleges up. College enrollment, college, what the alumni give, this all increases with football being what it is, okay? I completely agree with these kids being held accountable to their contracts. That the contract should be enforced. 100,000% it should be enforced, all right? And I agree that they should have guardrails on the transfer portal. Kids should be able to leave, but not the way it's happening now. So to everybody's point, yeah, this thing's kind of a mess. It's new. It's going to get worked out. And why will it get worked out? Because all the colleges want to keep that money, okay? They want to keep the money. And if you notice, none of the presidents, none of the ADs have come out and said anything about paying these kids. Because you know why? Giving them a little something is nothing compared to what the schools are getting. It's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. So that's why you haven't heard the people who run these institutions say anything or complain. And they won't. Because without football, they're nothing. If the University of Miami, or Florida State didn't have football, you know who they would be? They would be Townsend. They would be Fayetteville State University. They would be a school you never even heard of. All right. So listen, I'm all for everything, but I agree they have to iron out the transfer portal, put some guardrails on it. They have to enforce these contracts, hold kids accountable, and you go from there. It's going to get worked out, okay? Because there's too much money involved for it to get messed up. The last thing you want is a situation where you get players striking or taking some kind of action that messes the money up. Can you imagine a situation where they're going to play the national championship and the players say, we're not going to play? That kind of stuff can happen. So they don't mind paying these kids, but they should absolutely get the contracts enforced. And ultimately, they're going to need some kind of collective bargaining agreement. They're going to need something like the NFL. But the money is here to stay. It ain't going anywhere because everybody else other than the players are making a fortune, all right? And the people involved, the people who run the show, they're making a fortune, and they want to keep this money coming in. And you can't do it. Listen, Curt Cignetti, what he's doing, I mean, forget about it. It's somewhat of an anomaly, but you can't do it. Here we go with 1-star, 2-star players. Okay, I know Curt Cignetti. I know that, but the reality is that you have to have elite players, and that costs money, y'all. That's going to cost money. So,
Too soon, Marvin.
I know.
Too
Listen,
soon.
look, I know. Again, Kirk Signetti, what's going on there's an anomaly. They're paying their kids too, but they don't have a $40 million payroll like Ohio State. They don't have a $45 million payroll like Texas, So listen, this is here to stay. Listen, a lot of people are football purists. You want the kid to love the school, be blind toward everything else, and be loyal to that school. And I get that because that's how I am with my school. Okay. But at the end of the day, guys, it's a business. Capitalism has no mercy. Anything that is profitable is going to be exploited. All right. And at the end of the day, this college football thing is under a microscope. And what you see when you look under that microscope, you see billions of dollars. And they want to keep that in play. They're going to figure it out, y'all. This won't be an issue in the next few years.
All right, let me go from there. Okay, great points all the way around. Marvin, number one, I agree with Bruce Pearl. There do have to be player contracts. There do. There has to be accountable. You can't go ahead 1 year, you're here, then the next minute you're going to go. You have to be held accountable for at least a period of time. Because then you're going to find people donating to NIL, and then they won't do it again because they left after 1 year. I see that's the case with Troy Aikman. I won't get into that now because then this could drag out the whole time. I don't want to go there. But I just want to say that Bruce Pearl is not too far off base. So I want to ask everybody a question. Has everybody talked about Bruce Pearl, his obviously retirement to the booth? Everybody has commented on that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Marvin, have you
Yes.
as well? Okay.
Yes.
And of course, everybody's talking. All right, good. Let's continue on. Have a lot more to get to. One thing that we had a good time with Marvin and our show earlier, I'm going to run it by everybody. It doesn't have to be a long time here, but a non-sports one early. Okay, Spain is recruiting 10,000 volunteers to drink wine for 4 years of one of the largest clinical trials in history to study the long-term health effects of moderate alcohol consumption, specifically wine. Okay, Candy, just give an overview, then we'll get everybody else, and then we'll continue on.
I said, where do
Would
I
you
sign
do it?
sign up?
Okay, Tommy, what about you?
Who's running the study? The country of Spain? Did
Yes.
you say?
Yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead, Candy. Explain what it is.
Yes, Tom.
Huh?
Yes, Tom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not the first study. I don't know what they expect to find. Seems like we've had studies forever about alcohol and how it can help you, and obviously too much is bad for you. So I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah, but would you do it or not? Yes or no?
They're going to pay me.
Yeah, sure. All right, there you go.
Look at you, Tom. If they're gonna pay
Yeah,
me.
pay me alcohol. Okay, that's the way it's in the world.
Money talks,
Tommy.
baby.
That's it. All right, Tony, you talk now here. Would you
Hey,
do it, Tony?
I don't drink, but hey, I think Spain probably produces pretty good wine, so I'm down. Let's do it. It's
I'm
moderate.
down, too.
I'm
All
down
right,
to do
Marvin.
it.
Give me that
What
liquor.
about you, Marvin?
Yeah, I'll do it. Give me all
Right.
that liquor, and I'll be your test guinea. I'll be a guinea pig. Give me that liquor, and give me how many years? 10 years, whatever it may be. Holler at
I
me
said
10 years
4.
later. Just keep that liquor coming to Atlanta. I'll let you know of my thoughts and my opinions.
Let me tell you, if it's wine, yes. Vodka, no. We'll leave it at that. Okay. Then we're getting a little out of control there. All right, let's talk about Rasheed Wallace, who ended up tearing apart Joel Embiid for entering a season with a defeated mindset. He actually comes down on Embiid. Obviously, Embiid to me has been injury plagued. And actually, about a year ago, he had missed his 400th game. So, Candy, do you think that Rasheed Wallace was fair in his assertion of Joel Embiid for taking a defensive mindset after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because let's face it, somebody's been injured a lot, and I would, yeah, I do agree.
What about you, Tommy?
What is the question for Rasheed?
Sure. He was sharing Joel Embiid for entering a season with a defeated mindset. Keep in mind that we all know that Joel Embiid's missed a lot of games. He's missed at least over 400 games throughout his career, and who knows how many more he's missed since. Defeated mindset, I think, are the key words.
That's what he's accusing Joel Embiid of having.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm sure he has a good point, especially a guy like him who competed as hard as he did. He was a coach of a high school team here in Durham for a while, when he got and then before he started coaching in college. So, yeah, I wouldn't have any problem with someone making that statement.
Okay, what about you, Tony?
You could throw in what's his name with the Clippers too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, fair enough.
I don't know if that's fair for Joel Embiid, man. I think he just gets hurt. Like some people are just injury prone. He's been hurt since college. I think he probably shouldn't have played for Team USA in the Olympics. I think that was detrimental to him. Somebody like that doesn't need to play any extra games and put any extra minutes on his knees and feet. So I think that's a little unfair, man, because even Joel Embiid has been complaining that he wanted to play more and do more, but they're trying to hold him out because they know he don't got a lot of tread on those tires.
Wait. No. Embiid's announced before the season that he would not play back-to-backs this season. And that Wallace was feeling that hurt team morale and set a poor example, which I completely agree. Come on now. You get paid to play a season, not half the games of the season.
Yeah, but when Joel Embiid's hurt in April and May, and you're in that series against the Knicks and the Celtics, does it matter that he played a back-to-back in February? I think that's the thing. I think that's him and the team, because he was also complaining about his minutes. That probably should have been a joint statement, because the Sixers are also contributing to him not playing.
Where's your team trainer? And I would keep those comments quiet and not out loud, so that you're not detrimenting the team.
Now,
Sorry, I didn't mean to step out.
No, you're good. No, I agree with that too. I think
I love your passion, Candy, when you get like that. That's okay.
No, I ain't mad at it. And
Really,
it kind of goes back to I think it was Magic Johnson who said it. Just because they put a microphone in your face doesn't mean you got to talk. Like he could have just said something else, or like no comment on that right now. I'm just trying to stay healthy throughout the rest of the season. Whatever we agree to, we'll go for that. So I feel you on that, Candy, for sure. Because you got people who trying to play all 82, right? So that does look bad when you say that. But like I said, I think that probably could have been like a joint statement, because I know the Sixers are involved in that too.
Well, we all know that Joel Embiid is one of the kings of the flow management, as well as Kawhi Leonard. And Rasheed Wallace is one of the most hard-nosed players on the planet. And we all know how intensity he was and all the technical fouls he used to get for a reason. Marvin?
Joel Embiid is a strange cat, man. I don't know if it's like cultural. I mean, and I really mean it. I don't know if he just doesn't represent himself well. He's just a little too emotional sometimes, and his energy is just off. When you see him speak and you hear him speak and you watch his interviews, he just seems off. And it's hard because when you think about big men, you think about like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you think about Shaq, you think about guys that played and they played as often as they could, you know what I mean? And it's just this generation with load management, it's just they're a different breed. They really are, man. I think that we're in a different time now, and plus I think, when you're 7'1", when you're that tall, and you're out there running up and down that court, and again, basketball is a physical sport. It's a physical contact sport. That ain't, the NBA isn't full of punks. I mean, these dudes get busy down low, I think you get beat up, man. I think he's tall. I don't know if he's the most muscular guy. But when you're making $50 million a year, people don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. When you're a league MVP, nobody wants to hear that. So I agree with what Tony said in regards to the microphone in your face doesn't mean you have to say something. And if you do, you gotta be more strategic. You gotta understand who you are, what your role is on that team, what your role is in that league. Leadership matters. When people hear the best player or the highest paid player on the team talk like that, that can be defeating. So I get it, man. I don't like how he represents himself. I think he could really use a PR firm to coach him up on certain things, just the team. But he has to change his body language, his energy, his tone, because it's really off. When you look at the standard of MVPs in that league, we're talking about Jordan, Kobe, Bron. He has to do better than that. And the load management, not playing back-to-backs. I mean, and that's the case, you should take half the check. Don't take the whole check
Right.
if you ain't get paid the whole season. That's really how I look at it. You got a lot of people in America who blue collar workers, man. They work hard. For $20 an hour or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? So he has to have greater perspective, greater sense of awareness, and understands that his words carry weight. His words create energy. And in a leadership position, you just have to do better than that. That's the bottom line.
Joel Embiid needs to learn. Once upon a time, the NBA played on tape delay, and it was broke. That's what it has to understand. If it weren't for people like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, he wouldn't be making the money that he's making. I know, Tommy, I've got you like 30 more minutes, right? I know you have to get up around 10, right? Is that correct? So I want to make sure
Right,
we
yeah.
get the topics in that we are able to get with Tommy for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop around a little bit, and that's it. Well, we'll stay with another football topic. Now we obviously know that New York Giants coach John Harbaugh recently grew tired of Lamar Jackson's diminishing work ethic and immaturity that obviously led to late night gaming and falling asleep at the meetings. Candy, do you agree with that assessment? That obviously that Lamar Jackson wore on him after a while.
If all of this is true, yes. Like, I mean, if you're playing a sport and you're getting paid billions of dollars, I mean, lots of money to play a game, you need to be focused, especially during the season. And I get that. And I get that there are times you need to relax and get your mind away from it as well. But not at the expense that you're falling asleep during meetings or team meetings or not attentive. There's a time and a place, as everybody says. And, that the time to fall asleep is not during team meetings. And I can understand if the coach is finding him doing that, having an issue with that. Here you're the leader. You're getting paid the most money on that team. And what kind of example are you setting for the rest of the players in that team?
Bless you.
Tommy?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it probably started with when he had that knee injury in 2000. I think it was 2022, and there was controversy about whether he should be playing or not. And, whatever relationship existed between him and the franchise started to deteriorate, and the stories that came out during the season were pretty discouraging to hear from him, because you didn't think of him as that type of a guy. You thought of him as a competitive guy who wanted to win, team player, didn't take himself too seriously. So something has gone astray. And it's surprising that he and Harbaugh, something went wrong. But that's the way it is in coaching, coaches and quarterbacks and players and life in general.
Tony?
This is interesting because it makes sense almost when you think about the correlation of like how Lamar Jackson played this year compared to obviously 2 MVP seasons and a possible 3rd MVP season. That was debatable last year. But we're going to find out, right? I don't know. I find it hard to believe. I mean, I know Michael Vick did it back in the day, but it got to be hard to play as a quarterback and not be attentive. But we're going to find out because it's only going to be one common denominator left in Baltimore, and that's going to be Lamar Jackson. So, like, if he doesn't put together great seasons after this, he's going to have a stained career, and it's going to look like you became full of yourself and lazy after the contract at MVP. So I'm more so interested to see like how he goes forward after these reports than, think about the past of it, because that's done now. Now he's going to have to really show up and show out because now that the spotlight's going to be on him like never before.
Yeah, especially with Harbaugh gone. Go ahead, Marvin.
The quarterback position is the most alpha position in pro sports. It's the biggest leadership position in pro sports. And to have your head coach or to have people in your building question your work ethic is probably the worst thing that they could say about you. That is the worst thing they could say. All you hear about NFL quarterbacks is they're the first one in the building, they're the last one to leave, right? And they have to be the leader. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would believe John Harbaugh in this situation. I do. I would believe him 100%. Understand this. This guy coached Ray Lewis, arguably one of the greatest players in the history of the game, if not pro sports itself. So he understands. He's seen the standard of greatness. He knows what all in looks like. All right. And you don't get yourself out of a situation, and he didn't fire himself, but you don't get yourself out of a situation with a two-time MVP quarterback unless there's a problem with that quarterback. Okay. And while Lamar, had his moments, he played very well in their last game of the season that they actually lost. I would believe what John has to say or what the rumors are. You know what I mean? Where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay. You don't just walk away from a guy like Lamar Jackson unless you see, unless there are kinks in his armor. So I think it's a horrible look for Lamar Jackson. At the end of the day, people are starting to talk. At some point he has to win a Super Bowl. Now, keep in mind, guys like John Elway, a Hall of Famer, as great as he was, he didn't win a Super Bowl till his 16th and 17th season. And he was considered to be a Hall of Famer and great way before that. All right. So for Lamar, I think it's realistic that there's some complacency there. For Lamar, I think it's realistic that after you got 2 MVPs and got a $135 million contract, that maybe he took his foot off the gas a little bit. That you're dealing with human beings, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And he's still a young guy. I mean, he's easily in his late 20s, early 30s. Okay, so it's possible and realistic that some of this is true. And I hate to say that because I'm a Lamar fan, but you can't listen. If he had won a Super Bowl already, then John Harbaugh wouldn't mind him sleeping in the meeting. Because guys, people sleep in the meetings. Not everybody, not everybody, but believe me, in the NFL, you have players who sleep in meetings. That's a very real thing. But for Lamar Jackson and the fire he's under, the fire that John Harbaugh is under, there's no room for that. They've fallen short year after year, and that's not all on him. We all know, these guys, Mark Andrews and the receiver number 4, they dropped some balls, and there was some bad plays by the receivers, tight ends, in clutch situations where Lamar put the ball where it's supposed to be. But again, it's the most alpha position in sports. You got to be the guy that's your eyes got to be this big in those meetings when you're chasing that trophy and you haven't won it yet, and the whole world's wondering when are you going to take home the trophy? When are you going to be considered one of the greats? Especially when this other guy in the AFC has won 3 Super Bowls. You got Joe Burrow, who's been to a Super Bowl. I mean, Josh Allen is coming as well, even though he had some issues this year. So yeah, I hate to hear it. I believe it to be probably true. And you're also hearing now that they may move him. Now, this is just internet chatter. You're seeing this stuff on social media, but again, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I hate it for Lamar. And listen, his biggest accomplishment is still ahead of him. The biggest question mark is still out there. Can you get your team to a championship? Can you get over the hump? Because you don't want to go out like Dan Marino. You don't want to be Warren Moon. You don't want to be these guys. I mean, these guys are Hall of Famers, but trust me, they have a tough time moving on without that trophy when you got Brady, who has 7. Montana has 4. Mahomes already has 3. Lamar, you have nothing. You need to be eyes wide open in these meetings.
Yeah, I agree. Number one, all right. Yeah, no, there's no question. I'm going to take the side of Harbaugh too. Lamar Jackson's margin of error right now is going to be much less because you're going to have a new coach coming in. Let's continue on while I have Tommy on board. Tommy, we're going to talk about your buddy Draymond Green, who's been fined more than $1 million in his NBA fine, surpassing this mark. Is this comical or stupid, Tommy?
A little of both, because he's so intense. A lot. Rasheed Wallace had a lot of penalties and fines too. Draymond Green is the ultimate team player. And I was talking earlier about giving back to your university. He's given back to Michigan State. He was there for 4 years. He's proven himself a champion with the Warriors. So he gets a little out of control at times, but that's his personality.
All right, Candy, we're going to go rapid fire in a couple of these so we get Tommy as many as we can.
Draymond brings a lot of passion and with a lot of passion sometimes comes language that he should not use, and therefore sometimes fines.
Tony.
Draymond a punk, man. He's a punk. He has selective aggression. He knows who to go after. He doesn't bully certain players that are also tough or want to fight too. He knows what he's doing. And the problem with Draymond is ain't nobody swung on him yet. He needs somebody to hit him back. You move different when people hit you back. But the fine situation though, look, man, these players are getting 30, 40, 50. Jaylen Brown is up to $60 million a year. This is why they can openly say in the press conference, I'm going to take the fine and criticize or do whatever they're going to do, because $30,000, $40,000 when you're getting paid $700,000 to $1 million, a game, depending on what's going on, not $1 million, but like $700,000 a game, it's okay. Fine, the fines don't matter to these guys no more.
Marvin.
Scott, Tony just summed it up. I think he hit it right on the head. I have nothing to add. I think he said it all right there.
All right, let's go to some old-time college rivalries. There's a couple of interesting ones that I want to bring up. I'm always intrigued by rivalries, and in football, ever since Nebraska joined the Big Ten, Iowa had won 9 of their last 10 games playing Nebraska, and they were actually looking to flip the script on Black Friday. Candy will give you the result in a moment. This game has been decided by 7 points or less the last 7 years. Iowa has kicked a game-winning field goal in 4 of the last 7 games. The Hawkeyes were 6-point favorites in Lincoln. Candy, what took place on that day? And let's just talk about the Iowa-Nebraska neighbor rivalry. Candy?
So the first meeting between these two happened November 26th of 1891. The last meeting was November 28th of 2025. Iowa won 40-16. They have met 56 times. Nebraska leads 30, 23, and 3. The trophy series, it's called the Heroes Trophy, and it is played on Black Friday. Iowa leads 11-4. The largest victory was Nebraska, 57-0. The longest win streak was Nebraska at 8 between 1931 and 41. The current win streak is Iowa 3, 2023 to the present.
Okay, Tommy, what are your thoughts about this rivalry?
Well, that's one of those rivalries that's only important to the teams involved. When Nebraska joined the Big Ten, they were hoping the games against Iowa would replace their traditional season-ending rivalry against Oklahoma. Well, Nebraska and Iowa are never playing for any kind of national title or number 1 ranking or even top 5 ranking. So nobody really pays any attention to the game. But it's always good to have your local rivalries like that, neighboring state rivalries.
Okay. Tony?
I guess this is one of the few times where conference realignment has preserved a rivalry, like, kind of forcing them to have to play against each other every year, where now we see conference realignment tearing apart rivalries. So in that aspect is great, but I got to agree with Tom. I'm not rushing to the TV the day after Thanksgiving to put on Iowa and Nebraska. Now, when it used to be Nebraska and Colorado and games like that, those games, I like those a little more, but yeah, this is a Midwest classic. This not for me.
All right, Marvin.
Listen, Iowa and Nebraska are 2 proud football programs. Nebraska had its moments with Tom Osborne. People forget, man, those Osborne teams were tough. Listen, I don't make it a secret. I'm an SC alum, but Tommy Frazier, quarterback from Nebraska, is my favorite all-time non-USC player. Tommy Frazier played quarterback for Nebraska. He was amazing out of Bradenton, Florida. Love watching that guy play. Nebraska's teams are historically tough, gritty. Same thing for Iowa. 2 proud programs. I got a chance to watch both of these teams play this year, as USC played both of them and won. But it really is. It's a good rivalry. Proud programs. The people in those regions love their teams 100%. And it's a game that I would watch.
Okay, let's go to another rivalry. Interesting. Obviously, this one's also in the Big Ten, and that's Penn State, which was actually an 8.5-point favor over Nebraska at home this past year. Nebraska won the last meeting 30-28 in Lincoln. Nebraska's 4-1 against Penn State since joining the Big Ten. Why am I mentioning this now? I'll tell you why. Because before Penn State actually hired Matt Campbell, they were actually looking at Matt Rhule, and he ended up getting a contract extension. Candy, why don't you go ahead and summarize what took place there? And obviously, Matt Rhule got a raise, and Matt Campbell got a new job leaving Iowa State.
Pat, on November 23rd of 2025, Penn State beat Nebraska 37-10. Did you want more than that, or I don't know what?
Well, just a little bit more, obviously. Yeah, so obviously Matt Rhule got his extension, and Penn State blew him out. What else can I say? So
Nebraska owns the series right now with 10-8 record, but the most recent game came during the COVID-19 series back in 2020 when Nebraska won 30-23. Penn State is 6-3 at home, with the overall series being a series of runs. So it does go back quite a ways as well, though. I'll get that more information.
Yeah, I said this before. The Nebraska athletic director should have encouraged Rhule to take that job and go back home to Penn State, because Nebraska is not going to be a big winner under Matt Rhule. I don't know if they will be ever again like they were with Bob Devaney and Tom Osborne, not unless they come up with the next Curt Cignetti. It's just a different college football landscape. Nebraska, a lot of their success was built on Osborne, not so much Devaney's teams, but Osborne's teams. Those guys were heavily into steroids, and that had a lot to do with their success. Michigan State was a bad team this year, and they blew the game at Nebraska. They should have won that game. And
right.
Penn State, they lost a lot of their guys. They're still Penn State, but a lot of their guys followed James Franklin to Virginia Tech, including some of the recruits. And Campbell, the new coach, Matt Campbell, got his quarterback to follow him to Iowa State, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Nebraska is not a player anymore. We'll see what happens with Penn State.
Okay. Tony?
I agree with Tom. Matt Rhule, thumbs down. As a Panthers fan, I will never be a fan of Matt Rhule. He ruined our franchise along with Tepper. But yeah, I agree with Tom. Like back in the day, look, man, Nebraska, there was a lot of juice going on, and that helped Nebraska get to where they want to be. They will have to become like $100 million players in the NIL market to bring that success back, and I don't think they're in the business of doing that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. Penn State, though, they have a tendency to get back to some kind of relevance quickly. I think they'll be okay, even with James Franklin's departure and the recruits. Give them like a year or two, they'll be all right. But Nebraska, they'll be around 5-7 for the next 5 to 7 years.
Fair enough.
Listen, yeah, these college coaches, on one hand, they work around the clock. They're constantly traveling. Recruiting just eats up all their time. They're never with their families. But on the other hand, if your name is mentioned to be a potential hire someone else, then your current school gives you a raise automatically. You automatically get a raise, all right? And if you do horrible and they fire you, then they give you $30 million to walk out the door. You know what I mean? It has to be the best job in the world when you think about it. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable how it worked for these college coaches, man. His name gets mentioned in Penn State. Nebraska gives him a raise, and guess what? When they fire him in 2 years, they'll give him $50 million to leave. That's how it goes. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Only in America.
Only in America. All right, well, let's talk about John Harbaugh inherited. At one point, the Giants were 0-5 this season on the road where they led by 10-plus points. Well, Candy, it's safe to say John Harbaugh has a lot of work to do when you go out there and lead by 10-plus points and you still lose.
Yeah, but John Harbaugh is going to – I think he's going to do good things with the Giants. I really do. I think he's a good coach. And I look forward to seeing what he can do and how he can put his stamp on that franchise.
Tommy.
See how he does. He's still young enough that he can still coach for a while, but he has been a head coach for 18 years. Maybe he doesn't have the same voice he had before. A lot of great coaches, for whatever reason, they lose their edge. The Giants have a lot of rebuilding to do, but clearly he's proven himself as a great coach over the years. But we'll have to see if he's run his course.
Tony.
I like the hire. Him and Tomlin were the best two head coaches available if Tomlin ever decided to be available. The first thing he has to do in New York, though, is send Jackson Dart down to Yankees spring training and teach him how to slide. That's going to be what ties to his success. No, honestly, that's what's going to. It was between Tennessee and New York, and he was looking at the quarterback situation. He clearly chose Jackson Dart. If he doesn't teach Jackson Dart to protect himself or create an offense that protects Jackson Dart from himself, both of them will be out of New York in the next 3 to 4 years, right? So that's what it all hinges on. But I think he'll be okay. He's perfect for the New York media. He's been in the game long enough. He's going to do good there.
Marvin.
Listen, Harbaugh got $100 million in 5 years in a 5-year deal. A young quarterback in Jackson Dart, Scatterboo, Malik Neighbors. They have a few pieces on defense. He walked in. Listen, they have players over there. They need more and and all that, but they're not. The cupboard isn't bare in New York. With that said, he's kicking himself because if he would have waited another week or so, he could have been in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And as an NFL head coach, the number one thing you want is a quarterback. Forget everything else. If you get a quarterback, you can build around that. He could have had Josh Allen, and I'm telling you right now, he's telling his wife at home, honey, we should have held out. I kid you not. No, I mean that. Josh Allen is probably the guy that Lamar Jackson isn't, and I hate to say that, but that's very real, I think. So, yeah, for as much as he likes where he's at, I bet you he would have waited if he knew what was coming.
Yeah, but you know what, Marvin? Welcome to the media. What could have been and what should have been is old news. It is what it is new news. All right. So we kind of touched. Well, it's okay, Marvin. I'm with you. You're a former player. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. You see things differently than most of those people that haven't played the game and put the pads on. I have no problem with that. So let's talk about an part of the country where they take their football seriously. We talked about it in the playoffs on Saturday on Inside the Picture, but we're going to talk about the regular season a little bit. But they do take their football seriously in the big guy country because for a regular season game, not an FBS game, an FCS teams, Montana State and Montana charge $300 just to enter a regular season game. Candy, a regular season game up in Montana State. Tommy loves these stories, but go ahead, Candy.
But it's a big time rivalry, and it's kind of about supply and demand. If you can get it, they're going to get it. And let's face it, ticket prices have increased no matter where you go. Like, let's face it, everything has. You go to the grocery store and your prices have gone way up. So am I surprised? No. Am I a little surprised at those two schools charging that much? Yes, probably. But obviously they can charge it if they're going to get it if they charge it, or they're going to play in front of an empty stand. So.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that those stadiums aren't very big either. Probably 20, 25,000. They're not as big as the other ones, and they could get premium dollar for a smaller stadium. Tommy?
So we were talking about Clemson, did you say?
No, we're talking about Montana State. Hello, Cyberuski.
Both of the schools.
Yeah. They played each other. $300 a pop.
I imagine they're trying to duplicate a lot of what Boise State did. Boise State was just a small program. I'm not even sure it was a 4-year school, say 50 years ago. But they put a lot of money into the program. They had the community behind it, and the fans in places like Montana and Montana State, they don't have pro sports. So I'm sure plenty of people will be happy to pay up.
Yeah, up there. So, Tony.
Yeah, looking at it, they're a huge rivalry, and they're a huge rivalry. But this was also a semifinal game, a playoff game. So it was some.
Well, not
extra-
this one here. This one happened to be a regular season game. It
Okay.
got worse. That's all right. $300 a regular season game.
Okay, yeah, now we got a problem. All right. I thought this was the
Yeah.
semifinal game. Where it's like, okay,
Oh,
this
no.
could be-
You missed
this could
that
be
show
the
on
last
Saturday.
time.
It was more money then.
yeah,
Right, Marvin?
okay, all right. Now we got problems. All right, I thought it was a playoff
Okay.
game where it's like, hey, this might be the last time you see these guys this season, and in college, depending on seniors, it's the last time you'll see these guys ever. So I get the special need for $300 for a playoff game. Regular season, Montana, Big Sky Country. I don't know if I'm paying $300 to be cold in windy Montana, man. I'm good on that.
Yeah, you and Cyberowski agree on that one. Go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah,
$300 a regular season game, Marvin.
Listen, what it tells you is there's demand in that area. Football matters. It doesn't matter if they're a big school or a small school. If that's your school, if that's who you love, if that's who you support, then you're gonna pay that money. Like you said, it was a supply and demand issue in a small stadium, so they can jack them prices up a little bit. And guess what? That stadium was full. All right, that stadium was full of passionate people who love those schools. So to them, that's SC Notre Dame. It is. That's how you used to look at that. That's Miami, Florida State to them. It really is in their hearts. So yeah, I get it, man. I get it, and I love it. Big school, small school. If it's your school, you passionate about it, boy.
All right, Tommy, we're going to have one more topic for you, then we'll let you out of here with the Shanahan report. Is that fair enough? One more.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. You talk about program builder. Dusty May has completely turned around the Michigan Wolverines. He inherited an 8-24 Michigan squad 2 years ago, coached by Juwan Howard. He's led the Wolverines to a number 2 ranking in the country earlier this year. The team started out 14-0 before they dropped a close game to Wisconsin, and they've been destroying a lot of their opponents recently. Let's go around the horn with this one real quickly. Candy, what are your thoughts about the job Dusty May's done? We obviously know what he did locally at Florida Atlantic.
University of Michigan had a recent history of poor hires. They nailed it on the head when they hired Dusty May. He is a really good coach. We've talked to him when he was down here at FAU, and the program that he built down here, or helped build down here at FAU, which is a small school down here, doesn't have a big gym, doesn't have, nearly the finances, and yet took them to the NCAA Final Four. Then to get hired at Michigan, that was one of the smartest hires they did. And he's having success, and I'm not surprised. He's an all-around great coach.
Yeah, he was a great coach before he got there, and he's collected a lot of great players for the transfer portal. They have struggled recently, though. They were lucky to win at Penn State. Penn State had a shot at the buzzer that could have beat them. Oregon is struggling. They only beat Oregon by 10. So they've hit a lull right now, which happens to everybody. But they are loaded with talent. It's just a matter of how much they're going to keep playing together like they did early in the year.
Okay. Tony?
Yeah, man, these coaches from these small schools, when they have that kind of success, when you give them a bigger budget, you give them better facilities, they normally can duplicate or be a force multiplier of that success in a bigger stage. And it's happening right now in Michigan. As somebody who likes Carolina hoops, it pains me to see Elliot Cadeau playing so well for Michigan, and we couldn't figure out him at the point guard position in Carolina. But I'm not going to be a hater, man. Shout out to Michigan. Let's see how far they can go. Tournament time is when it all matters, and anything can happen in March. So great regular season so far and a great start.
Well, Dusty May's had pretty good luck in the NCAA tournament. He's taking teams deep for sure. All right, Marvin.
Typically in these situations, I would say leadership matters. I don't want to do that to Juwan Howard because this guy took his team to the championship game, I believe, his first or second year. I think the bigger thing here, as Tom said and Tony alluded to, is you had a bunch of unloyal kids who left their schools to go to Michigan to be with this coach, and this coach got some better players. and they look good. And that's the bottom line.
Okay, we're going to go to the Shanahan report. Tommy, thanks for hanging with us. We're actually at 10, so we won't keep you any further than that. Let's go to the Shanahan report. Tommy will be back in about 2 weeks with more college football and some major college basketball topics if they come about. All right, Tommy, the floor is yours. Shanahan report. Go for it.
Yeah, go to tomshanahan.report. Twitter is Shanny4055. If you live in the North Carolina, Raleigh-Durham area, the Apex Regional Library, Apex is a Raleigh suburb, has invited me for Black History Month to talk about my books. My books don't only talk about Michigan State. I talk about a lot of the other college football integration leaders. And the state of North Carolina played a far bigger role than people understand. And again, it's the same old story. In the 1960s, the sports media avoided race. And the milestones that were being set and recorded were ignored. North Carolina State desegregated in 1966 with Earl Edwards, who came from Michigan State. 1964, Michigan State was the first fully integrated team to play in the South at North Carolina's Kenan Stadium. Wake Forest was the first major school in the Atlantic Coast Conference to recruit Black players consistently and develop them out of high school. Maryland recruited Darrell Hill first a year earlier, but they weren't committed to Black athletes. He was a senior transfer, a polished product. And then guys like Jimmy Ray came out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, went to Michigan State. Bobby Bell, Minnesota. Carl Eller, also from North Carolina. A lot of transcendent people in North Carolina. And so I don't know how many people are in the audience out there, live within driving distance, but I'd love to see you.
Well, Tommy, you want to thank you very much. So let everybody know they get a hold of you, Tommy.
TomShanahan.report, Shanny4055.
And put those 2 books up so everybody can see them if you have them nearby. If you don't, let them know how to get them. Yeah, I know you always keep them nearby. That's a big one. I got that over here at home in the office as well. So great stuff, Tommy. And I enjoy having you on. We'll see you on next Tuesday. Have a great weekend on Inside the Pigskin. We're going to be out in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. But meanwhile, Tommy, thanks for last night. Thanks again for tonight for your hour. And you have yourself a great rest of the night, my friend. We appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you as a friend more ways than you'll ever know. All right, Tommy? And you can also see Tom Shanahan's writing on the South Florida Tribune. He does write columns for us as well. So check him out, and I'll put him up on social media as well. Was it Shanny0? What is it?
Shanny4055.
Yeah, on X or Twitter, whatever they call it these days. You can find them over there. All right, thanks, Tommy. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of the night, my friend. Bye now.
All right, Tom.
Thank you.
Peace, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with that said, we'll turn over to station break with Candy. Then we'll wrap it up. We have some more topics to get you out of here on.
South Florida Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how the industry has changed over that time. Definitely go get your copy. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also an audio version available where you get your audio books. Go get your copy today. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check out the website. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications so you are notified every time we go live. You don't want to miss the great programming we have here on our channel. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights, what you can see from the program we had before, Scott, Motor City Madmouth, and Marvin on the mic, and then now on Sports Exchange. You never know what topics we're going to be talking about, so tune in to find out. And then Thursday nights, fire up. Come on over to the country club, as Scott would say. That's where I lead the group, and we talk about just about anything. Pretty heavy on football, especially this time of year, but come on over to the country club. And then Saturday mornings, wake up. Instead of College Game Day, you don't need that show. You need Inside the Pigskin Saturday mornings right here on our YouTube channel. Back to you, Scott.
Look at that. She's unbelievable, Marvin. College Game Day she's putting us. I'll tell you, we feel pretty privileged that we graduated College Game Day. Great stuff, Candace. Look at that energy this woman has. After all, she's an Indiana girl because the Hoosiers won, right? She's an Indiana girl. She's a Hoosier.
Technically, I was born in that state. I will admit, yes. Didn't live there long, but I was a Hoosier.
That doesn't matter. She's a Hoosier. I can't help it.
Let's put it to this way. I was born close to where they are talking about the Chicago Bears possibly building a stadium in Indiana. Can you believe that?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few weeks. Good stuff, Candy. I'm glad the way you set that thing up.
Good
really
stuff,
well.
Candy.
All right, well, there you go. Let's talk about the NFL. And that says how the NFL stole Christmas from the NBA. Which would you watch? First, and I'm going to go over everything and then put everybody on the spot. For decades, Christmas was the NBA's. The NFL occasionally played on the day, but it was rare until 2020 when the NFL barged in with the Vikings and the Saints. 20 million viewers hit. And obviously, guess what? A little bit of a thing going there. So, Candy, which one would you watch? Would you watch the NFL or the NBA?
Any day of the week, give me the NFL. I do not need to see the National Drama League. The other thing is they play so many more games. The NFL doesn't play that many games. So give me any day of the week, NFL.
Okay, Tony.
So 2024, I said I watched the NFL more. 2025, I watched more NBA. The thing about planning those games for Christmas is you don't know where the teams will be in this, like in the standings that time of the year. And it's pretty much set. The two games that came on this year, the Cowboys and the Redskins, both were out of the playoffs. Detroit and Minnesota, Detroit were still technically in, but they was pretty much eliminated. So it kept me compelled to watch basketball. And also, I am a channel surfer. NFL, if you're going to do Christmas, you got to get it off Netflix. Put it on Fox, put it on CBS, because I'm not going to Netflix necessarily to watch football. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm flipping through the channels, I like to flip through my channels and channel surf. So that kind of took me away from it. So stop being a bully, NFL. Okay. Stop being Debo and taking chains. Let the NBA have Christmas. All right. Let the NBA have Christmas.
All right, Marvin.
Which would I watch? Let me answer it like this.
Come on.
When I was a kid, I used to sleep in full pads as a kid.
Okay.
I would sleep in the bed as full pads, and I would hold my football in the bed like it was a girl. Okay, like I love my kid you not. Okay, my wife and kids are my greatest love. Football is my first love. Okay, the NBA today is just shooting up threes. I hate it. I can't stand it. I love Steph Curry. But, man, he's impacted the game in a way I don't even recognize it anymore, okay? To me, NBA basketball doesn't become great until you get down to really the Final Four teams, you know, when you get to the conference championship and then the NBA Finals. So on Christmas Day, give me that foosball, okay, all day long. That's it.
Yeah, NFL all day long.
Can I ask a question? Because I was thinking about this earlier, just randomly thinking about sports, right? With the NFL, like basically trying to take over Christmas, do you think the NBA should focus more on Martin Luther King Day as being their big day? Since it's like right after, like it's no more Monday Night Football, and they can like really like take over.
That's strategic. They need to.
I wouldn't keep trying to fight the monster of the NFL.
Right now, the NFL is Rome at its highest level.
Yeah,
that's actually NFL is Rome. It's Egypt at its highest level. If you know anything about history, that's what the NFL is right now, and it's going to be that for a while, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know what, Tony, you nailed it. Yeah, they should focus on Martin Luther King Day. That's a no-brainer. And like Marvin said, the NFL is Rome. That's a good question. No, that's a very. I would agree with that 1,000%. Take over Martin Luther King Day. You can have it. There's no way you're getting Christmas anymore. And if you do, you're going to get blown away anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll take the NFL.
and it
And
follows
Candy's
that,
right.
Mon-
The
that
National
last
Drama
Monday night
League.
game. Yeah, for sure. People care
That's
more about
okay.
the drama of basketball than the sport of basketball.
Well, I came up with the NDL, the National Drama League. That was mine. But all right, and Candy, obviously, when I have something, she takes it because she's incredible. You know, we share each other's lines. Just like at one point on Sports Exchange, I used to have my town, but this became more complicated. I keep my town on the country club, and we just exchange information. All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing that we can probably take it a little bit on a different level, and that's this. According to Front Office Sports, the Cowboys have started a memorial fund for Marshawn Nealon. Candy, some thoughts about what the Dallas Cowboys are doing for their late player.
You know, it's always neat when you see a team rally around a cause like this or one of their players that needs help. A family needs help. That I think is a true testament to the hearts and the brotherhood that they have, that they share when they're on the same team. So I think it's great.
Tony,
I think it's great. It's amazing. Hopefully it can bring more awareness. It will open up more dialogue. Hopefully I didn't look into it, but hopefully with the memorial, it provides services maybe for people who need people to talk to and to get through these situations. And I just thoughts out still to his family and stuff. The further you get removed from it, you think people, they're better from it or getting over it. But these are the times where stuff gets harder, now that you're getting further away from the story. So hopefully this memorializes him in a positive light to be positive for other people so they don't have to go that route.
Marvin.
Yeah, listen, anytime you have a major corporation want to look out for one of its employees or ex-employees in this fashion, I think it's great. I'm a sucker for kindness. I think it's a great move. I think it's strategic. I think it's impactful and inspiring. And kudos to the Cowboy organization, Jerry Jones. Listen, for all the junk that we talk about Jerry Jones and everything, and I'm assuming he had something to do with this. I want to believe he did at least.
Right.
You've only heard these old school players talk good about him. You really have that. The older dudes, Irvin, Aikman, I mean, they talk about he's a control freak and all that stuff. But in regards to the kind of man he is and character, it's always very positive. So this kind of aligns with that. I'm happy to see it. I think it speaks more to, like Tony said, promoting mental health and just creating awareness for that. That's a big deal because that's a real thing, whether you played football or not, So it's a great look for the NFL, great look for the Dallas Cowboys. And hopefully, this brings awareness to people who need it.
All right, we're going to go to a non-sports topic. Tony, you're going to like some of the stuff we throw out there, especially with some of the stuff that Marvin and I did on the first show, but this one didn't appear in the first show. But a non-sport contest. A campaign begins for My Pillow. CEO Mike Lindell says he's running for Minnesota governor. Oh, my goodness. We got a pillow boy running for the governor in the place of 10,000 lakes. All right, Candy, what are you talking about? I don't mind his pillows, but I wear them out pretty good. But My Pillow, Michael Lindell, Candy.
He's been a successful
Wondering, where does he come up with this stuff?
He's been a successful businessman with that company. Does that equate to he's going to be a good person for the people and that he will get elected? As long as he's not buying votes and people are allowed to really pick and choose who they really want. Everybody's got a voice. If he wants to use his platform and run, good for him. Let him. I mean, this is America. You can land of opportunity. If that's what he wants to do, let him run for governor.
Tony?
Hey, didn't Jesse the Body, wasn't he the governor of Minnesota? Hey man, give him a shot. Give the pillow guy a shot. I'll be honest with you. Looking at this climate and politics, I wouldn't want to be anything when it comes to politics in Minnesota right now. But if he feels like he can fix the situation, more power to him, man. Hopefully, as long as he's a man of the people and he's tried to better the situation, do your thing.
Marvin.
Yeah, sometimes
Marvin?
you know, sometimes I think it's a good thing to hire somebody or elect somebody that's outside of politics. But then I'm reminded we elected a reality show guy to be president, and now we're all on Survivor. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So, and I mean that. So it's kind of like, you know, it could go left, it could go right, and that's not even political when I say that. So I don't know, man. Why not? Listen, I worked with inventors for 20 years, and he's an inventor turned businessman who's been successful. I love I love people who step into the world of entrepreneurship and business, and I support that. Does that mean that he should be an elected official? Based on what I just said about our reality show president and living in the world of Survivor now, I don't know. Come back to me on that. Let's see how this one plays out. That's it, Scott.
You ready, Scott? Are you frozen? Scott, you there?
Frozen. Let it go. Let it go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Definitely. Yeah, why not give him a shot? What the heck? Marvin, Marvin, go ahead. Complete your thought. You say, why not give him a shot?
Yeah,
See, he's a salesman, Marvin. You like salespeople. You're trying to get me a damn salesman. I'm an undercover cop.
Yeah, I hear you. But that's the problem, though. Yeah, that's the problem, because I don't know what kind of salesman is he. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's the question. So, but hey, only in America. Hey, why not? Hey, you invent a special pillow, you should be a senator. Only in America, right? So why not?
Yeah, but he's a salesman. You keep telling me to be one. I don't like it. I did. I don't like it. I like this.
Scott,
only in America.
Only in America, baby. You gotta love it.
He's a salesman. This guy sells pillows. He got me to buy 4 of them. Yeah, I'm doing anything I can to solve my sleep problem, even with a My Pillow. Let's just hopefully he don't put people to sleep over in Minnesota, where it gets really cold. You better have a lot of feathers in those pillows, baby. I'm telling you. But hey, you know what? We've seen crazier people run for offices than Governor of California. They got actors and actresses and wrestlers out there. Why not give a pillow inventor a shot out in Minnesota? All right. Well, you know what? I'm not in the business to give restaurant suggestions, but I'll tell you what. There's one in Tampa I haven't been to. And since I don't have Black Rock to go anymore, I'll tell you what. I haven't been to Burns Steakhouse. Anybody ever been to Burns Steakhouse in Tampa before?
No, I haven't.
I hear that's rated as one of the top 100 restaurants in America. Katie, we'll have to check out Burns Steakhouse. But anybody up and out there? Anybody heard of it? It's spelled BERN apostrophe as Burns Steakhouse. So no Black Rock will have to hit Burns when it's out there. It's one of the bigger, fancier steak places in the Tampa Bay area. So with that said, we're making really good on time. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to do it tonight. Candy, give me some parting shots. Anything that we haven't talked about you want to get off your chest?
Can I talk about a very recent trade that just took place?
Yeah, go on. Well, I mean, again, I said parting shot. Go ahead.
The Milwaukee Brewers have agreed to trade ace Freddie Peralta to the New York Mets in exchange for top prospects. And they've included right-hander Tobias Myers. So Peralta, he's 29. He's in the final year of his team control and would become a free agent next offseason. The Mets beat out a crowded field of suitors. The Yankees wanted him, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Red Sox, and yet the Mets got him. So some of the teams, the top teams, keep spending money, and some of the teams that don't have quite the same payrolls have traded away some of their top people.
Well, Pat Murphy's going to have his hands full when it comes to this coming year as a lot of these better players drop off. Tony, you're obviously a regular person on the baseball show. Why don't you give us your observations about this trade?
Oh, Lord, Candy. Don't start talking about spending money. Eric going to hear us and pop on. It's something the Mets
on Saturday.
Yeah, it's something the Mets really needed to do. They were trying out. It looked like they were going to pull out a rotation full of guys like 24 and younger. They needed like some kind of veteran stability. But it's the Mets, man. We have a saying in my group chat, the Mets are going to Met it. So literally, as this happened, I got a text on my phone. The Mets are loading up to go 84-78, guys. No big deal. They'll be all right.
I know, Marvin, baseball's not your sport. Anything you want to say about this trade or anything else you want to get off your chest tonight?
Get off my chest. The fact that as much as I'm excited and I had a great time watching this national championship in football, really sad that college football is over. I hate that. It's heartbreaking. And as we head into the Final Four of NFL, I'm reminded again that that's almost over as well. And that breaks my heart, y'all. It does. Again, I'm a football fiend. You know, that it's my love, it's my drug, it's my everything. And the fact that we're about to be done with the football season is really hard. Baseball, man, I love those baseball contracts. Oh my God, those baseball contracts are just unreal. I'm happy for all those dudes. Man, get your money, baby. Only in America.
Well, don't worry, Marvin. Don't let the withdrawal bother you too bad because, as I said, you got the United Football League and you have a couple episodes of Inside the Pick, and it won't be that bad for you. I promise you, I will make it real on Tuesday and Saturday morning. Okay,
Right.
You don't have to worry. We'll make sure you get your football fix no matter what happens. Everybody's going to laugh at the Pro Bowl game because nobody cares, but nobody's going to laugh at the Senior Bowl. There's some Miami Hurricanes players continue to play. What was the latest edition? Candy Ruben Bain is going to be going there as well.
Correct.
So he'll be going up there. So whatever I didn't get on Monday night, I intend to get it next week with some Canes up there as well. So, all right, Candy, one more station break. Will everybody know how they can get a hold of each other? So go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years, 45 plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. Really? What are you waiting for? I don't understand. Like, we have some great content on the channel. Click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family and anyone you think would enjoy. And then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live, whether it be Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, or Saturday morning. Get your Saturday morning fix. Make sure the notifications are on. Back to you, Scott.
All right, that does it for us. All right, Tony, let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
All right, you can get me at Talking Game on all social media. YouTube, Tony Talking Game. We go live every Wednesday, 3:30 for an episode. I'm here every Monday at 8 o'clock for baseball, every Wednesday for Sports Exchange, Saturday mornings. Scott, you working me kind of hard here. No, I'm joking. Saturday mornings, we're back to baseball soon. And then, yeah. So, hey, I'm here. I'm here, guys. I'm here, and I'm loving it.
Tony, I would say I love working you hard, Tony. The harder I work, the better you get. So I apologize for nothing because you get better on every show.
And Tony, everybody on this panel, Scott works even harder than you.
I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. It's
but
cool.
We all love it.
Sorry, Tony. I'll tell you, you'll be my rookie of the year. Marvin's already past the rookie stage already. He's probably a sophomore within his rookie year. So that's all right. With that said, we'll leave the Marvin for last. Go ahead, Marvin. Put it out there, my friend.
Yeah, you can catch me with the South Florida Tribune throughout the week. I'm doing 5 shows. I'm loving it. You can catch me on social media, Marvin on the mic. You can catch me 2 to 3 times a week with Locked On USC.
All right. Well, that does it for this edition of the Sports Exchange. And we were glad to have Tom Shanahan on earlier. Candy Ebling, I'll tell you, she's an MVP in more ways than everybody will ever know. Tony, I'll tell you, you've done an unbelievable job. Our next date with you is on Saturday. You're going to like what we got lined up. I got some good people lined up as we do a baseball show this Saturday. We will not do one Monday night as Candy and I will be traveling to Mobile, Alabama. But Marvin and I and Mel, we're going to be busy with our Inside the Pigskin on Saturday. Already got that show already lined up. And we're hoping to have our only 2 broadcasts on I think next week we got maybe one, or she's going to do Fire Up. I think, aren't you, Candy? And I'll do
We're
Inside
doing
the
Tuesday and
Pigskin
Thursday. Yeah.
up in Alabama. So Tuesday and Thursday up in Alabama. So that does it for this edition of the Sports Exchange. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I know we were all over the map, as Candy put in the title, from the football field to the basketball court and everything in between, right, Candy? Well, everything in between. We definitely went out there and lived up to that. Tony, one last thing I'm going to ask you real quick before we go off. And Marvin and I talked about this earlier. You know, the Venezuelan Little League team was actually denied a visa for a tournament. What are your thoughts about that?
It's oh my gosh. See, you're about to make me cuss, Scott. It's terrible. One thing, like, even during the Cold War, right? We were able to go to Russia or, like, you know, play against like just certain teams. Like, this is getting real. Hopefully they can figure it out, but we have somebody who's very petty and very I can't use another word but petty. That's stopping things like this. So it's unfair to the kids, man. And hopefully they can figure it out soon.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure we talked about it on an earlier show. I thought I'd go ahead and mention it to you, Tony, since that won't make baseball show anyway. And we got Friend Zone Millionaire who will stay on. It's I need a nap after the stock market today. It's hard work, taking advantage of Miss Red's eyes. Missed you guys again. The president's audible on terror and made me look like I know what I'm doing. All right, Friend Zone, we're glad you made it on anyways a little bit later tonight. So I just wanted to get Tony's opinion on that before we sign off. So once again, on behalf of Tommy, Candy, Tony, Marvin Powell III. My name is Scott Morgan, North Motor City Man. I want to thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. And we have some programming. Obviously, what do we have? Fire Up tomorrow, right, Candy? I don't have an early show. I have a local chamber party to go to. I hope to be on Fire Up tomorrow night. And of course, we have our Saturday lineup with baseball. Once again, Tony, I'm working him too hard there. And Marvin, don't worry, he gets up earlier than you to do the first one. So everybody will be busy that day on this group anyway. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you joining us. Have a great night. Bye now.